It's time for Let's Chat with Russtek, a podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs just like you. When starting out, entrepreneurs often feel they need to go it alone, and I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. Entrepreneurs have a lot of questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat with Russtek. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Russtek. My name is Nick Russell, and today I want to kind of change gears a little bit, take a break from what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and maybe stir up a little controversy. This isn't exactly the most popular of opinions, but it's something I want to talk about today. Now, a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine sent me a message over Facebook Messenger, and he sent me a meme. It was a meme that he saw on Facebook, and he wanted to discuss it with me. And we both agreed that we didn't believe this in any way, shape, or form. Now, the meme was a quote, or a saying, I guess you could say, and I want to read that to you now before we move forward. So this is what the meme said. Owning a business, you don't punch out at 5. Sometimes you work 90 to 100 hours a week for zero income. Nobody speaks on it, but that's reality. Now, I want to say that is absolutely not reality. And if that is your reality, I'm sorry to say you're doing something wrong in your business. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. Now, I'll bring you back to when I first started Russtek. Now, when I worked at the beer store, I was putting in 70, 80 hours a week as a manager because I didn't have the proper tools and my manager wasn't doing his job. And it wasn't all on my district manager. That kind of went up the chain because a big company like that obviously cuts everything they possibly could to make the profits a little bit better. Unfortunately, those of us that worked at the retail level really took the brunt of that. So as a manager, I didn't have the tools to actually do my job properly and in a decent amount of time. Now, when I started out as an entrepreneur, I didn't mind putting in the hours because it's something that I absolutely loved. And it didn't feel like work most of the time. But very, very early on, I started following Gary Vaynerchuk. So Gary V is an entrepreneur. Owns tons of businesses. And one of his big messages is the hustle mentality. So not being in the entrepreneur space for very long, I thought that's what it meant to be an entrepreneur. So I hustled. I worked tons of hours, but really wasn't getting a lot done. And when I look back now, being the nerd that I am, I love spreadsheets. So I started out with a very simple spreadsheet back then, just to track the time that I was using to show my clients what I was working on. It wasn't just fluff. Now, when I look back at the time spent, there was a lot of fluff in there throughout my whole week. And I knew I could fix that. Now, as I grew and got more clients, I'm now getting way more work done in a fraction of the time that I put in because I have the tools and the knowledge on how to be more productive and get more done in less time. Now, you could be in a retail spot or you could be in a storefront. It all depends on the tools you have and the team you have in place to help you as the business owner get what you need done in the allotted time. Because believe me, having a good work-life balance is way better than being that cool entrepreneur, quote unquote, and putting in the 90 hours. And I'll tell you, that is not good for your physical health and definitely not good for your mental health. Because as I put in those hours, I have burnt out. I know what it feels to burn out and feel absolutely drained. It's happened to me twice now, and I've needed to take a complete break from everything just to recoup and get back going. Now, a few of the things that I use obviously is a spreadsheet that I have that I track time so I can see where my time's being spent, whether it's on this client and doing this work for this client or this work for that client, whether it's meetings, calls, whatever the case may be. I have everything broken down so I can see exactly where my time's being spent and how much time I work throughout the week. Now, I've tweaked this spreadsheet over the years. I've added a quarterly section, and I've added the yearly section to see where I am with formulas to see what kind of productive time I'm using and non-productive time. But not everybody's going to use a spreadsheet that robust. That's just me. But what I started to do was I started to tweak using ToDoist and having a routine set in there. So each day I have a different routine. My morning routine and my evening routine stays the same. But throughout the day, I have a different routine on what I'm working on. And that's ever changing depending on how many clients I have. More clients I get, that has to change a little bit to fit everything in. But what I also do is I take what I have in there for my routines and I move that into Google Calendar and I block time out. So for this hour block or this hour and a half block, it's working on this client's work. It's doing this, it's doing that with no interruptions. Take a little break, get up, walk around, stretch a little bit, and then get back to it. That has helped immensely. Now, one of the last things that I did was through Alex Charfen, another entrepreneur. He introduced me to time studies. And what I did was I did a time study that he had, and that really opened my eyes up. Now, with this time study, it's really cool. Every 15 minutes, you're writing down what you're doing. Right now, obviously, I'm going to write down that I'm recording this podcast. I could grab my phone, search TikTok, start scrolling. 5 minutes on TikTok will lead to a half an hour, and then some days. But I'll mark that down. I spent 40 minutes on TikTok. Now, at the end of the 2 weeks of this time study, you can actually see exactly where your time spent and use that data to realign your week. So that way you could actually be done at 5 o'clock. You could punch out at 5 o'clock, so to speak, maybe 6 o'clock at the latest, and then have a whole evening to yourself to do whatever it is that you need to do to work on yourself or enjoy time with friends, family, whatever the case may be. If you do it properly, if you have the right tools, you do not have to put in the 90 to 100 hours a week. I promise you that. So that's really all I wanted to talk about today. And I would love to hear your feedback and your thoughts on this quote, this meme that was shared online. And again, the meme goes as follows. Owning a business means you don't punch out at 5. Sometimes you work 90 to 100 hours a week for zero income. Nobody speaks on it, but that's reality. Now, the zero income part is a whole different story, but I want to have that discussion about putting in the 90 to 100 hours a week or a 40-hour work week, 50-hour work week, whatever the case may be. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So head over to Facebook, and on this post, you'll see the description and the image for this. And I'd love to have a discussion in the comments and hear your thoughts. And one other thing, I want to offer you a chance to take this time study as well. So what I did was I actually made up a time study, kind of modeled it after what Alex had, tweaked it and made it a little bit better. So that way you can track your time as well. So all you have to do is head to rustekmedia.com/time study, and that's yours. Just put in your email address and I will send it right over to your inbox. So again, that's rustekmedia.com/time study, and it's all yours. And with that said, that's all we have for you this week. So hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to chat with you again next week.